When I was 17, I got so fed up with my brain. You see, it felt like I was running on a software that had a virus. It was like I was trying to see the world and my life normally, but there were all these pop-up ads everywhere. This highly sexualized material that just wouldn't leave me alone. My brain, because of the stuff I was consuming and the culture in general, had become hyper-sexualized. It was impacting the way that I lived my life, the conversations that I was having, and the way that I looked at people. It felt like my brain was this toxic, hypersexualized place, and I just wanted to start over. I was trying my best to not watch lustful material online, but I was struggling. It was like I was caught on this cycle on repeat, and I couldn't hit the escape button. As a Christian, I knew that sex was God's idea, but this whole thing had been so perverted. This led me on a long journey of learning how to desexualize my brain. What I learned was 6 core ideas that I'm going to share with you today on how to desexualize your brain. Be sure to stay tuned for idea 5 because honestly, I think that was one of the most game-changing ideas for me. Without further ado, let's dive in. The first idea here is change your cravings. And you're saying, Isaac, that is much easier said than done, and it absolutely is, but we need to begin to understand where our cravings come from. When we talk about cravings, most of us think about in the context of food. So let's talk about junk food. Why do we crave junk food? Well, it's quick, it's easy, it's pleasurable, it tastes good. It doesn't have a lot of nutrition to it, but it makes us feel good. We crave that instant gratification. I went through these phases as a teenager where I would have these like huge late night snacks. I would make multiple meals for myself and I would just gorge on them. It wasn't nutritional, didn't make me feel good, but in the moment, it did feel good. Here's the thing, you crave what you consume. You crave what you consume. If you're eating a lot of junk food, if you're eating Doritos, you're going to crave Doritos. And any of you who have been on any kind of like diet where you cut those things out, you're still craving them for a while. But eventually, what begins to happen is you start craving different foods. You start craving the foods that you are primarily consuming. Lust is the equivalent of junk food, right? It's quick, it's easy, it's pleasurable. It doesn't take a lot of work at all. You will crave what you consume. So if you're feasting on lust continually, it's obvious that you're going to crave that. You're going to crave those kinds of videos. But we justify it. We say, you know what? It's just a small amount. It's not that big a deal. Maybe you're not watching pornography. You've cut that out. So it's just Instagram videos or YouTube videos or Twitter videos. Or maybe it's novels. You're reading pornographic material. It's not that bad. It's just a small amount. Or what about just pictures, lingering stares at the grocery store? It's just a small amount. It's no big deal. Guys, what we need to do is we need to detox our cravings. And you can only do that when you get serious about what you are feeding on, what you're consuming. Would you drink up a glass of water with a teaspoon of toilet water in it? No, unless you're like a teenager trying to impress a girl, you wouldn't. Because that's gross, that's nasty. You don't know what's in that toilet water. So then why are you consuming content that you know has some toilet water in it? You know is not good for your soul. You know is stirring up things in you sexually that you don't want to stir up. This is what Philippians 4:8 says. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Do you want to crave the things of God? Well, consume the things of God. Dwell on the things of God. Dwell on whatever is true, honorable, just, lovely, commendable, excellence, worthy of praise. This is how we change the craving, to stop making excuses for our late night binging, but to discipline ourselves to consume something else, and our cravings will follow. Okay, on to the next. Solo missions fail. If you're really trying to break free from this, to desexualize your brain, genuinely, you can't do it alone. We need help. We need a community. Because temptation is going to be there to fall back into our old patterns. That's why we want to rely on other people to help keep us accountable to that temptation. That's why I want to introduce you guys to today's sponsor, Relay. Relay is an app that is proven to help men break free from the cycle of shame. When you sign up for the app, you get invited into a team chat. These are guys that are going through what you're going through. It's a private, anonymous community that will encourage you and help you. The program has a daily check-in that will help you build meaningful habits and stay consistent on the right path. It'll also help you when you experience a temptation or an urge to walk through those triggers, what you're feeling, and take a step back to make the right decision. Click the link in my description or scan the QR code to get 7 days free. And make sure to use the code IsaacD. Take the next step in your journey today, and thanks to Relay for sponsoring this video. Thanks so much, guys. Now let's get into the next idea. change your comforts. We all experience negative emotions: anxiety, sadness, fear, stress, rejection, shame. They can all be present in our life at one point or another. Life is difficult, and sometimes it feels like all these emotions are crushing us. But here's what some people find out at a young age, is that lust makes me feel better. I'm experiencing these feelings: sadness, anxiety, fear, rejection, shame, hopelessness. All of these feelings weigh me down, but lust, it gives me an escape. Lust makes me feel better. Lust comforts me in some way. But anybody who's experienced this knows that this feeling better only lasts for a moment. It's not a permanent feeling better, because we have to keep going back to the source, to lust, in order to continue to find that pleasurable escape. Here's what it looks like. We have bad feelings and we need comfort and escape, and we look to lust for instant relief. But then what happens? Well, we feel shame about what we've done. We feel guilt about it. We feel disgusting. We feel dirty. That just amplifies the bad feelings that we already had, of sadness, of hopelessness, of shame, of fear. The problem is, it's like this. We are so thirsty. We're in this wasteland, this desert, and we're just so thirsty. We need some help. We need some water. And somebody gives us some water, and we're like, great. And we drink this water, and we realize it's salty. It quenches our thirst for only a moment. And then what do we need? We need more of it. So we keep drinking, we keep drinking, we keep drinking. It never really satisfies us. In fact, it just makes us more thirsty for that same salty water. This is what lust is. It's a momentary relief, but it never really satisfies. Lust is ultimately a lie. It promises relief, but it delivers shame. It promises freedom. Oh man, you can be free and you can experience this escape. But it puts us in more bondage, because you become enslaved to it. You need it again and again and again. It's taking up your mind, your thoughts. You can't focus. You can't concentrate, because you're thinking about getting home and watching that again. It gives you this artificial sense of control, but really it just delivers you helplessness, because it's controlling you. It provides momentary satisfaction, but then ultimately guilt. So how do we deal with this? Ultimately, it comes down to where we're finding our comfort, where we're finding our relief, because we can't help but experience those negative emotions from time to time. Anxiety, sadness, stress, shame, rejection, fear. All those things are part of the human experience, part of the Christian experience. But the question is, where do you go when you experience those things? This is what Psalm 46 says. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Is that true for you? Is God your refuge and strength? Do you turn to him when you're feeling stressed or anxious, or is he just kind of an afterthought? Guys, he is a good father and he cares for you. And honestly, I think it breaks his heart when you look to other things, when you look to lust, when you look to pornography for comfort, for relief, for satisfaction, when Christ is there and he's like, man, you can find that all in me, and I'm not going to give you salty water. I'm going to give you water that actually satisfies you. That's what he said to the woman at the well who he confronted about having multiple husbands. This was her vice. This was the lifestyle that she was caught up in. She thought it was going to satisfy her, but it didn't. And he offered her living water. And he offers that same to us today. The question is, will we take that step out in faith and turn from our old coping mechanisms to cling to Christ, to trust that he actually is a refuge, to trust that he actually is strong and he will provide comfort? Okay, number 4. Don't just battle. We hear a lot of war language when it comes to lust. We need to battle lust. We need to fight lust. We need to beat lust. It's all, it's violence. It's attacking. And I use a lot of this language, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. There is an internal battle going on between the flesh and the spirit, a spiritual battle that's going on. But I don't want us to just stop at battling. Here's what 2 Timothy says. So flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, peace, and along with those who call on the Lord with a pure heart. So flee youthful passions. Flee them. Don't stay in the same room. Run. Don't entertain this stuff. I think of Samson and Delilah. Samson kept Delilah around. Why? It's not that he didn't know what she was doing. She wanted his power. He had this long hair. He had this covenant, this commitment with God that gave him this special power. And Delilah, she wanted to know the source of it. And so she would ask again and again and again, and Samson was playing with her. And he'd invite her back a day after day after day, even after he knew what she was after. Why did he keep her around? Because he liked the way that she made him feel. He liked having that attention. He liked the way that she looked. Maybe he thought he was strong. He wasn't. He ultimately fell and was captured. Don't trust yourself to be strong enough to beat it, but get out of the room. For the lips of the forbidden woman drip like honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Hone in on that for a second. Her lips of the forbidden woman drip like honey. It's sweet. It's enticing. Look, if you're being tempted, if you're being triggered, then get out of the room. Get out of that space. Go outside. Leave what you're doing. Don't stick around. That's the wise thing to do. Because how are you going to detox your brain from something that you continue to invite into your house? On to the next one. This is one of the most powerful ones to me. Shame is a recipe for repetition. When I was caught up in lust, shame felt like it was always there. It felt like I was always feeling ashamed of who I was and what I was doing. And it would just be this perpetual cycle. I'd experience a temptation and then I would fall into it. I would sin. And I would experience escape and relief for a moment, but then right after that, I would experience shame and guilt. That shame and guilt led me to self-hate. Man, I'm so terrible. I'm so disgusting. And then when a temptation arose, again, with those same feelings of self-hatred, it was easy to fall back into the same sin again. Now, honestly, what I thought was I was supposed to live in shame. After all, this is what I was doing. It was so disgusting. It was so wrong. So I should live in shame and I should keep punishing myself. But the thing is, it's never enough. You can't punish yourself enough to make up for what you've done wrong, so you just end up living in that. And when you hold so tightly onto this identity of shame that you're gross, that you're perverted, that you're this lustful person, then what tends to happen is we act in accordance with that identity. We act according to your identity. What does that mean? Well, if you already see yourself, if you're already understanding yourself to be a lustful person, a person that can't control themselves, a gross person, a perverted person, a person who needs this, then that identity, when you're confronted with temptation, is going to lead you into more sin. But there's two pieces to this, because Jesus died to free us from shame. That he bore the weight of our shame on himself. All the things that we've ever done were on him on the cross. He took the punishment for our sin. He bore that shame on himself. And he gave us a new identity in him. We're made into a new creation. So we don't need to hold ourselves to this idea that, oh man, I'm just this sinner, I'm just this gross person or whatever else. No, if I am in Christ, I'm a new creation, I'm a saint. That's not who I am. And what happens when I cling on to that new identity? When I'm confronted by temptation, when I'm confronted by these urges, I'm not going to just play into them, because my identity, if I'm having this new identity, I'm going to act in accordance with that identity, and it's going to say, you know what? I'm not this person anymore. I don't need to go to this stuff for coping anymore. I don't need to turn to this stuff for escape anymore. That doesn't mean we don't fail, but it means that we're looking to live more consistently with this new identity that empowers us to walk in God's Spirit and not in the shame cycle that keeps us in bondage. Okay, the last one here. Take dominion. Let's go back to Genesis for a second, because men were created for dominion. We were created for dominion over the world, over animals, over all creation, to image Christ as we rule and take dominion over what he's created. Now, over the course of recent history, a lot of men have been taken out of the world. We've been put in front of phones and computers. We have no connection with the physical world. We've been pacified. We've been numbed out. We've been told to not take risks, to play it safe. And so we become numb to this world. We don't feel any ownership. We don't really have a lot of purpose or mission. And yet we crave that dominion because that's what we were made for, to subdue the earth. And this is where perversion steps in, because lust is artificial dominion, where God created man to take dominion, to subdue the earth, to pursue a woman, that he would leave his father and his mother and become one flesh with her, that he would be the leader of his household. This is ownership over his life. This is leadership over his family and over creation. And yet lust perverts that. It takes men out of it and says, oh, you know what? You can have all of that now. You can have dominion on this screen. You can have control of what you're seeing these women, these men do. You can find the exact video that you want to see, the exact act that you want to see. In this world, you have dominion, but it's artificial dominion. Your life in real life is out of control, but on this screen, on this box, I'm king. It's the illusion of control. They give you this illusion because they want your attention. They want your money. They want your ad revenue. They want your OnlyFans subscription. But what if we stop settling for artificial dominion and we actually take ownership of our life? That we own our life, that we stop running from it, that we take dominion over the simple things. I mean, think about somebody like Jordan Peterson. He was all about making your bed. Why did that hit so hard? It was because it was something simple that we could do that was taking dominion over our life, that as men is something we were wired to do, and to find a mission. Like a real mission, a mission worth living and dying for. And as Christians, we're given that mission to glorify God, to enjoy Him forever. But for us, we need to think about what is the micro mission even there? Like, yes, I'm going to make my bed, but what can I do today to glorify God, to enjoy Him, to multiply what He's given me, to steward what He's given me, to make much of my life so I can make much of Christ? Where can you take ownership of your life right now? What books are you reading to learn, to grow? Are you spending time with God? Are you building your relationship with Him? How are you treating your body? Are you exercising? Are you eating right? What are the little things that you can do right now to take ownership over your life, to take dominion over your life? Because as you find more and more purpose through God in your life, the less you're going to hunger and desire for the things of this world, for the pornography that promises you some sense of control. I pray this video has helped you and equipped you. And until next time, God bless.